Hey everyone, this is Bunny. Today I'm going to answer a question that somebody had asked me because when I was assembling miniatures, I was assembling a miniature with a base. So what do you do if your miniature didn't come with a base? So I've got this little set here. They don't have bases with them. They were actually a sampler set that I got as part of another Kickstarter. Okay, so they were just a sample of the Kickstarter that was going to come after. So these weren't minis that were entirely finished. They didn't come with bases. So I assembled these minis, but not any of them has a base. So what can you do about that? Well, first you assess your mini. So he does not have a base, but he stands perfectly fine on his own. Okay, he's not rocky, he's not going to fall over. If you hit him, he slides. So this guy is fine without a base. So in the case of a miniature that does not have a base, and he's totally fine, he stands on his own, he's stable, you can just set him aside, prime him, paint him as normal. Now we come to this guy. This guy stands, sorta, but he's real rickety. Like if I poke him, he falls over. Okay, so this guy needs something to stabilize him. So there are two ways, and this guy actually needs something to stabilize him too because he doesn't stand at all. So there are two ways that I like to create bases for my minis. Well, there are three ways. I'll address the one that I'm not going to do in this video first, because you can buy textured bases. So you can buy bases that look like sand or water or whatever and glue these guys on. The problem I have with those bases is nobody ever fits perfectly. Ever. So you try, but they're not really made for that mini, so they don't really fit. So I don't tend to do that. I will put a link in the description to a set of bases that I have used before with some success for smaller minis. Obviously these are larger, but for your standard size little minis, your standard humanoid minis that you use for D&D or Pathfinder, I have a set of bases that I have used before with some success, but in general I don't like bases that come textured because it can be difficult to fit your mini on. So what you can do instead is, now this is, you probably can't see it great on video, but this came out of another set of miniatures, and I didn't need the base because those miniatures stood just fine on their own. But I kept the bases because you never know. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to glue this guy onto this base. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to use the same glue we use with our minis. I'm using Gorilla Super Glue. Yes, I'll put the link in the description because somebody always asks. And we're just going to glue him on. I'm running out of glue, so I literally have to kind of just wait for this glue to get all the way out here. Because it's kind of annoying. I am running out of glue. I need to open a new glue, but I don't really like opening a new glue if I don't have to. I probably do have to, but I'm not going to right now. Okay, we're almost there. Almost there. It takes a minute. Because I am running out of glue. You really should open a new glue and dump the old glue into the new glue. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to. There we go. Now it's flowing. So we're going to put some glue on there. Close this up. I am running out of glue in this one. I have another glue, but I don't like opening them before I need to. So now we're going to take him. We're going to stick him on the base, and depending on your glue, so this glue needs to be held for about 10 seconds. Depending on what glue you're using, you might have to hold it or clamp it for 24 hours, depending on what you're using. That's why I use the Gorilla Super Glue, because it only takes a few seconds. So now he is on that base. Obviously, that has to set and cure for about 24 hours before I prime him. But you can now prime him and paint him as normal. Now, I will do a video on how to make this base look better than just a flat base, because often we want something with a little bit of texture to it. So I will do a video on that, but today's video is just about how to get them on bases. So that guy's done. Now this guy is bonkers, okay? He doesn't even sort of stand up, so a flat base would be difficult because you can't really glue him onto a flat base because his one foot is flat if he stands like this. His other foot is flat if he's like this. So he would not do well on a flat base, and I don't like using textured bases because they don't ever fit properly. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to create a base of hot glue. Now for this, you obviously need hot glue sticks and a hot glue gun. Okay, so I've got my hot glue gun. There we go. There we go. Need a little more length on the cord. Have your hot glue sticks at the ready because you'll probably have to add them. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of pipe a circle-ish. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. If you want a little texture, you can do that. But we're going to pipe a circle that is big enough for this guy, okay? Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And again, have your glue sticks at the ready because you're going to need extra glue sticks. Okay. Remember, you have to slow down with hot glue because your sticks have to remelt. There we go. So here we go. We're getting a nice base. I don't like perfect circles. Okay, I do not like a perfect circle. Mostly because it doesn't look natural. So I'm kind of piping this around. You want it deep enough to hold your mini. So that's probably about good. And then we're going to stick our mini in. We're going to decide what angle we want him at. And we're going to sink him into that hot glue. And then you're going to hold him. And you've got to hold him till that glue sets. And what you want to do, you want to make sure when you're doing this, you're piping onto a surface where your hot glue will come off. And sometimes you have to redo this because sometimes you end up with not a great result. And in fact, I'm going to pipe a little extra around his feet just to make sure he stays where he's supposed to stay. I'm going to move him a little bit. Until your glue sets, you can move him around and pipe more glue on. Okay. There's more art than science to this, so you really have to hold him. Nope. Got my finger in the glue. Don't do that. Don't put your finger in the hot glue. I was just trying to pull some of these strings off. But now this takes a couple minutes to set, so you just want to hold him. Remember, you have to let him set until the glue is completely dry. If the glue is not completely dry and cool, you're not going to be able to pry him off. So I'm using it's actually a cutting board mat. And I like using these cutting board mats because they're actually really durable. So they can take all the stuff that I do to them. So I'm using this cutting board mat, and this hot glue will peel off. You need a smooth surface because if it's a pitted surface, you're going to have trouble getting that hot glue out. And it can be a little bit dicey sometimes, but this is the way I like to create my bases. And again, you do have to make sure, like if it's still tacky or still warm, it's not set. The center of it takes longer to set, so it literally is going to take a couple minutes. But after you're done, again, I stuck my finger in the glue. Fantastic. Don't do that. But we all do it. We're all like, are you dry yet? It's not dry. So the other thing you can do while it's drying, if you want, you can take your utility knife or your X-Acto knife. You can drop the blades on the floor because that's what I'm good at. But you can take your X-Acto knife and you can kind of make patterns if you want. So if you kind of want to cross hatch or something, you can do that while the glue is almost dry. Or if you just want to use the tip of it and kind of mess up the glue while it's almost dry. So if you want to make waves, you can make waves. If you want to make curls, you can make curls. You can just muck it up so that it looks like it has texture. You can kind of use your knife and kind of almost make like grass or something if you want, because then it has some texture. Switch hands so I can do something on the other side. And you just wait until he dries. I'm not left-handed, so usually I rotate them, but I don't want to rotate them for the video. So you can do whatever you like to that base, or you can leave it smooth. The other thing you can do is wait until that first layer is pretty dry, and then kind of do a second layer. So if you want to make it look like he's crawling out of the dirt or whatever, you can do that as well. So you can kind of make a dirt mound around him if you want. So you can kind of bring it up as high as you like. That's one thing I like about hot glue. And I'll also do, somebody's going to ask, I know, I will also do a video on how to use hot glue to create your own models. It works really, it's a great medium for certain types of models. Okay, so he's pretty close to dry. Yeah, he's pretty close. But you need to wait until that glue is actually cool because it's still too warm. So I know if I were to suddenly reach in and try to rip him off, the glue's not entirely set. I'm just going to unplug the hot glue gun because I don't need it now. But it's not entirely set. So you just need to wait until it is dry, or at least pretty much dry. Because if you try and peel him off, he won't have a nice solid base. But you can do this to create a base for any mini that you need a base for. Because there are actually a surprising number of minis that don't have a base. It's shocking to me sometimes when you get a mini and there's no base included, because there really should be, but there isn't. So again, you can do no base because they're solid enough. You can do just a standard base. You can actually, I'll even put a link to some bases that you can buy, and once he's set on there, you can just prime him and paint him as normal. So I'll put a link to just round bases that are not textured if you need a bunch, especially if you're going to get into making your own minis, or if you're going to do 3D printing, you may need some of these bases kicking around. They don't have to be clear. I'm just using a clear one because that happened to be what came in the kit. Or you can use hot glue to create a base on your own, which works really quite well. So what we're going to do is slide these guys off so I don't send them flying. Move the hot glue gun. And then what you do to remove is you just flex. You need a flexible surface, remember, underneath, because if you use a surface that's solid, what'll happen is you won't be able to get the mini off. So this is a really flexible mat, so I can flex it to get him off. And remember, it is glue, so it takes a little bit of practice to get it off, okay? And you want to come at it from more than one angle. I'm just going to have to pull it off camera here for a second because I need to flip it the other way. But yeah, you've got to go slow, and remember, it's glue, so it does want to adhere to the surface it's on. And you can, of course, again, use your utility knife and go underneath, which is what I usually do once I've got all the edges up. Don't use your utility knife until you've got the edges pried up. So here I have the, I'll turn them back around. But here I have gone and pried up the edges. You don't want to take your utility knife and go under there if you haven't freed up your edges. So make sure your edges are free, and then you can go under there with your utility knife and kind of remove him. But you don't want to go under there until you've freed up your edges with your hands, because if you just start going under, what you're going to do is cut off some of that glue. So you don't want to do that. You can also use, some people like to use really thin spatulas to go between, which is also fine. But go slow. Don't try ripping him off. If you grab him and try to sorry for hitting the camera there. If you grab him and try to rip him off, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to get him off smoothly because the glue is going to tear. Remember, it's hot glue. It's not like solid glue. So because it's a hot glue, there we go. He's coming. So you just have to go slow. Remember to lift up your mat to get him removed. Again, sorry, I have to take him off camera. But this takes a few minutes. So you can do it on wax paper or anything that is kind of flexible, because again, you want him to come off it. So you need it to a flexible surface. If you do it right on your table, you're not ever getting him off. So make sure you use a flexible surface to get him off. Okay, almost there. So it takes several minutes to get them free. Okay, it does. It takes time. There we go. He's coming. Almost there. I know I'm off camera, but you know what? Sometimes you have to do that. Okay. There we go. Just got a little bit left. Again, remember, it's glue. There he goes. So remember, it's glue, right? It is glue, and I leave a bunch of residue, and I scrape that off later. So now he is a miniature who will sit however you need him to sit. The glue is a little bit flexible. So again, if you need to take him and figure out, I want him to sit a little more this way or a little more, like if I wanted to, I could put glue under him and make him sit up like this, which I think would be really cool. I might do that. I haven't quite decided yet. That actually might be kind of cool. If I gave him a little, actually, yeah, that might be kind of cool. I might like that. So we'll see. We'll see. We might do that. We might not. Again, solid surface you want to put them on, but it also needs to be able to be flexible. So yes, put some kind of mat or paper down on your table just so you can get him off again when you need to. Okay? Because it is glue. It is glue, so he will stick to whatever you put him on. So that is about it for today's video. I just wanted to show you how to make bases. Again, remember to be careful with the glue. Don't stick him on a solid surface that he's going to stick to. You need a flexible surface that the glue doesn't really adhere to well. Remember, hot glue doesn't stick to everything, so just use something that it's less likely to stick on. Okay, and then he is good to go. I really do think I might do... Yeah, I might do something where he is a little more elevated, because I think that would be cool. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that doesn't matter. That does not matter. Whether I do that or not, I don't know. But that is all I wanted to show you for today's video, just because I had been asked, what do I do if my models don't have a base and they keep falling over on their heads? That's what you do. You just create your bases with however you like. You can buy pre-made bases. You can use just these discs, or you can make a base out of hot glue and then paint it later, because they do end up pretty cool. So that is about it for us here today, and we will come back next time with yet another tutorial on how to either prepare your minis for painting, what tools you might need, or even how to paint your minis. So that is it for us. We'll hope you'll be back with us next time. Bye!